This is the Barbados Today morning news for Wednesday, October 23rd. Thank you for joining us. I am Mary-Claire Williams. Our top story this morning, police are investigating an alleged attack on an employee of the state-run government industrial school in St. Lucie by a female inmate. Police confirmed to Barbados Today that they received the report from an employee of the alleged assault on staff member Paula Haynes at around 9:50 yesterday morning. Police Public Relations Officer, Acting Inspector Rodney Innes, told Barbados Today that Haynes was involved in a dispute with a 13-year-old when she was injured. Police investigations revealed that the teenage ward was walking in a particular direction accompanied by another worker when the paths of Haynes and that of the inmate crossed. Police said at this stage it was not clear if words were exchanged, but they are investigating claims that the employee was cuffed at the back of her head. We have also been reliably informed that the alleged victim has told the police she will be pressing charges against the girl. Some employees say that for months now they have been targets of abuse, threats and intimidation, and no one seems to be listening or doing anything about their complaints. Back in April this year, a majority of board members called for swift and sweeping changes to the operations at the Barbados St. Lucie facility. There have also been suggestions for the removal of the principal, Erwin Leacock. Barbados Today reached out to Minister of Home Affairs Edmund Hinkson, but he was unavailable. In other news, opposition leader Joseph Atherley has charged that politicians are aligning themselves to people involved in the illegal drug activity to help their cause. Atherley made the charge in Parliament yesterday during debate on the award of Pride of Barbados Bill 2019, and he described it as one of the most sinister perils that the country faces today.
And I dare anybody in here to stand up and say that is not true. You may say you do not know, but you can't say it is not true. Because, Mr. Speaker, I know it is true. And I think it is a sad day in Barbados. And I've been saying this for years. I've been saying this since about 2009, 2008. I've been saying that because from my experience, from what I observed, from what I came to know, that is when it started, probably started before that. But it does obtain, and it is something that strikes at the heart of our democracy. It is something that strikes at the institutional heart of our governance process. It is something that strikes at the heart of wholesome community life in Barbados. It is one of the most sinister perils that we face today. And I really would want to hope that the government would have the resources, the wherewithal, and the tenacity to ensure that something like that is brought to a swift halt.
Barbados and the rest of the Caribbean have been warned that it is time to show the results of the funding received from the European Union to develop the agriculture sector. Head of the European Union delegation to Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean says the EU has recognized the importance of food security to the region and it is ready to assist. But she says it is time that the sector begins to show the results of all the work that has gone into planning and training over the years. She noted that the EU was about to fund Phase 2 of a project by the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture to build on results achieved on a previous project. That project was designed to help companies become compliant in sanitary and phytosanitary measures.
There will not be a third project, I can assure you. It is high time that all the support and capacity building which has been going on in the region bears its fruit. It's high time, I repeat, I've been in the region now for almost 9 years, and I can't understand. In next life I will reincarnate as a Caribbean because I never had so many training in my life. It's time to move from training and workshops to action. So with this new support to ICA is only, so to say, 1.2 million euro. which have been committed for this purpose.
Meanwhile, countries have also been told to get policies right in order to attract more investment and participation from young people in agriculture. This advice from the lead specialist on climate change and agriculture at the Technical Center for Agriculture and Rural Cooperation, Olu Ajayi. He told Barbados Today there are many ways to ensure increased food production and guarantee food security, but they need to get the policies right.
A coherent policy that encourages investment in agriculture, that's essential. Secondly, among the one that is produced, you need to do everything to minimize the amount of losses of the existing food that is produced. Because once you produce, another thing that some estimates show that can be up to about 20-30% being wasted. So do everything to minimize the losses, post-harvest losses in agriculture. And thirdly, make agriculture encouraging for farmers. Make it profitable for farmers.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Craft Center. Kick off the weekend this Friday from 4 p.m. to midnight with loads of food, drinks, and entertainment. Get ready for Crop Over with the Rhythm Roots Street Parade. Party like it's Kadooman Day on the street around Pelican Village with costume reveler, music, and more. It's Festive Friday. It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Village Center from 4 p.m. to midnight. Admission free.
Thank you for staying with us. We're back with news from the region. The Caribbean Court of Justice has been hearing arguments from two CARICOM countries that opted out of the agreement allowing free movement of agriculture workers and security guards. We get more in this report from Newsroom Guyana.
Free movement has long been a contentious one in the 15-nation Caribbean community, CARICOM. The heads of government have twice agreed to grant countries an opt-out to say that they will not accept certain categories of workers, the latest being Antigua and St. Kitts, who have opted out of a decision to allow the free movement of agriculture workers and security guards. The two countries were granted a 5-year waiver. Now, CARICOM wants to know if its decisions to grant opt-outs is legal under the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas, the legal instrument which governs how CARICOM functions. It has asked the Caribbean Court of Justice, the CCJ, to decide. A contentious question that the CCJ has also been asked to decide on is whether the countries which are granted an opt-out automatically deny the citizens of their countries the right to move and work and benefit from the very decisions. In arguments before the CCJ on Tuesday, Dr. Vanessa Maud, the Crown Solicitor at the island's Minister of Legal Affairs, said that Antigua, a less developed state within CARICOM, requested an opt-out because of socio-economic reasons, and she went further in stating that Antigua did not expect to have its nationals who are agri-workers and security guards to have the right, therefore, to travel and work freely in other member states.
And further afield, Syrian and Russian forces will deploy in northeast Syria to remove Kurdish fighters and their weapons from the border with Turkey under a new deal reached on Tuesday. Both Moscow and Ankara have hailed the agreement as a triumph, as we hear in this Reuters report.
Russian President Vladimir Putin appeared with Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan just hours before the ceasefire in Syria was set to expire. The ceasefire agreed between the United States and Turkey. Now, a Turkish security source says Russia and Turkey will discuss a possible wider withdrawal by the Kurdish fighters in Turkey's crosshairs.
I would like to express hope that the level of Russian-Turkish relations, which has been recently reached, will play its role in the solution of all complicated issues in the region as of today.
Hundreds of Kurdish fighters remained near Syria's northeast border on Tuesday, with Turkish-backed Syrian rebels saying they were ready to resume fighting if Kurdish YPG militants didn't retreat from Turkey's proposed safe zone in time. Some skirmishes have continued despite the ceasefire. Meanwhile, the American troops that crossed from Syria into Iraq on Monday are being told that they can't stay there. The Iraqi government has not granted them permission to stay after the White House started pulling them out of northern Syria nearly 2 weeks ago.
And that's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals and Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also find us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM. I am Marie Claire Williams. Good morning.